NBC4 News at 11 starts with breaking news.
The driver's getting out. The driver's getting out and running across the freeway. Letting the car roll.
Breaking news in downtown L.A., a wild and dangerous pursuit. The driver jumps off the freeway to try and get away. That pursuit started in the Inland Empire. News Chopper 4 caught up with it along the 210 freeway in the San Gabriel Valley.
Yeah, the CHP going after the driver and passenger believed connected to several armed robberies in the Las Vegas area. That driver topping 80 miles per hour and making several lane changes until it hit traffic on the 110 freeway in downtown L.A. Then this happened.
The driver's getting out. And running across the freeway. Letting the car roll.
They let the car roll and run down the freeway while both took off running themselves. One took a long jump off the freeway. Very scary. He is okay. Officers later found him and took him into custody with a broken ankle.
And the passenger kept on running across several lanes on the freeway. He tried to reach a parking garage but did not make it before officers caught up to him. He is also in custody tonight. The traffic now still slow in this area. That's the 110 at Harbor as the CHP continues their investigation.
We are also getting some new details on a high-speed crash in La Mirada. Two people believed to be a father and a daughter were killed this morning when their car crashed into a fire hydrant and utility pole. NBC4's Darsha Phillips joins us live from the scene with the latest. Darsha.
Kathy, Lolita, this crash happened just before 8 o'clock this morning, and there is still debris littered all across this parking lot. You can see tree branches, glass, parts of the vehicle, and that mangled sign. It really paints a picture of just how violent this crash was.
Lighting candles and leaving flowers at the scene of a horrific crash on Rosecrans and Beach Boulevard in La Mirada.
We seen the car just in pieces.
It was a disaster. Like the pole was down, the wires were down, the transmission was over here on the side. It was horrific.
The gray Chrysler 300 unrecognizable. A member of law enforcement who did not want to be shown on camera spoke with a close friend of the family and says the driver was taking his adult daughter to work when he had some sort of medical episode.
It breaks my heart to know that somebody lost their loved one.
The driver and his passenger were ejected from the car and died. Deputies have not officially confirmed a cause of the accident or the relationship between the two occupants, only saying the driver was going extremely fast. The force of the collision sheared off a fire hydrant, toppled a utility pole, and destroyed two large signs. Members of the community believe the victims live nearby, many saying they felt the need to come by and pay their respects.
I have kids of my own in their 20s, and so I could imagine prayers go out to their family.
Now, that member of law enforcement that I spoke to earlier says the daughter may have been on the phone with family members when that crash occurred. All of this still not officially confirmed by sheriff's deputies. That's the latest from La Mirada tonight. I'm Darsha Phillips, NBC4 News.
Yeah, horrific, like one of those witnesses said. Thank you so much for bringing that, Darsha. Well, tonight, dozens of people gathered for a vigil to remember loved ones taken by violence. Now, each candle represents someone in the community who's no longer with us. The vigil was held at the Fred Roberts Recreation Center in South LA, and organizers are calling for solutions that break the cycles of crime, also encouraging those impacted by violence to come together.
There are others out there who sharing their pain that are also seeking for ways to heal from their traumas. Some are looking for ways to forgive.
This marks the first time the group has been able to gather in 2 years because of the pandemic.
Now to the Russian invasion of Ukraine and an update from the Ukrainian president on Russian losses. The Ukrainian army has destroyed more than 1,000 Russian tanks, nearly 200 Russian aircraft, and almost 2,500 armored fighting vehicles. And despite these losses, Russian troops still have equipment to launch more attacks. That's the fear in Mariupol, a ceasefire in place tonight so that civilians can be evacuated from a steel plant that is the final holdout